What's up, everybody? Well, I figured today we would do a video review of this Asus ROG Strix G15 Advantage Edition. Man, that's a mouthful. Figured we would start off by just looking over it again. I know we already did this on the unboxing video, but not everybody watched the unboxing video, so bear with me while I just quickly do that again. Starting at the front, we have a little place to grab to open up the lid. And then we just have a little light bar right here. All right, on this top side, we've got a headphone speaker combo jack. Then we have two USB 3.2 Gen 1A ports. And then we have a little bit of ventilation for the GPU right here. And that pretty much covers it for that side. All right, on the back, we've got ventilation right there. We have the plug for the power. We have a gigabit LAN port. I think it's an RJ45. Then we have an HDMI 2.0B. Then we have a USB 3.2 Gen 2C port. It also can do DisplayPort and power delivery, so you can hook up a monitor to it or charge the laptop with it if you happen to forget your power brick. I just wouldn't recommend trying to game while hooked up with the USB-C. It's not going to be able to handle it. It's only 100 watts, and the thing can draw well over 200 watts when you're playing games. And then we've got one last USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A port that I have a mouse hooked up to. And then if we turn the camera just a little bit, we've just got a little bit more ventilation over there. And that's it for the back. All right, and this side is super easy. All it has is some ventilation right here, and you can see a little bit of the RGB light bar. All right, and then I figured I would hold it up for this part. You've just got they come with interchangeable ones of these. You can take this off, and there's a silver one and a gray one if you don't like the red. And then this right here, you've got a little logo, and this does light up RGB like the keyboard and whatnot. And then I like this one last little part right here. Since this is an all AMD system, they put the little AMD logo on the corner down there. I didn't even notice that at first. And then real quick, we'll do this. Look underneath. Alrighty. Carefully set that back on the table. Okay, now for the screen and whatnot. We've got a 1080p 300 hertz screen. It's not touchscreen or anything like that, but it is 3 millisecond response time, and it's IPS. Then underneath, we've got, let's zoom in here. Underneath here, we've got the two microphones for noise cancellation. And then we've also got, zoom back out. Then we've got a speaker right down there. And then there's another speaker right over there. And they are Dolby Atmos, so they actually sound pretty freaking good. They're 4-watt speakers in this small little thing. I mean, I think the speakers over on my desktop are only like 10-watt speakers, so only half as bad as desktop speakers. Anyway, point being, they sound pretty good for being a laptop, and I feel like more than good enough to, you know, be heard over the fan noise that gaming laptops tend to make. But I have to imagine most people, me included, tend to use gaming headphones whenever I go any place with it anyway, which I've only ever done once. Okay, here's the keyboard layout. You've got white face WSAD keys. They have very nice feedback. They're not like mechanical. They don't have like a mechanical feel to them, but they feel very, very good. Takes some force to actually push them down. They don't feel spongy or anything like that. Everything's spaced out pretty good. I have no problems playing any first-person shooters on this thing. So laid out pretty good. These are kind of laid out in a little weird way, but I almost never use the arrow keys. You've got your print screen button. You've got a play button, a stop button, forward and backwards, and then you've got your delete and insert key. And then on the top, you've got your escape, and then you've got your function keys. You can do all sorts of stuff from muting, brightening or lowering the brightness of the RGB. You can quickly get to the aura page. You can turn the fan speed up. I honestly don't know what F6 is. It's got a picture of a box with scissors in it, so some kind of cut probably. And then brightness for the screen. turning the display on and off. If you have an external monitor and you don't want it to be on, you can turn your trackpad off here, put the thing to sleep here, or put it in airplane mode there. Then you've got your power button right up here, and then you've got your volume keys right here. Muting the microphone is next. And then you've got your fan speed button here, and then you've got your Aorus button, where you can go into your, or not Aorus, ROG. I've got too many freaking gigabyte products. And that's how you can control all sorts of stuff, which I'll show you once we boot the thing up. And then, last but not least, let's just move the camera back ever so slowly. There we go. And you got a pretty big touchpad. It doesn't have separated things, but pretty good clicks. Pretty responsive. I don't really use that much. I usually, for now, I'm using my old Model O, but I'm definitely going to get a better mouse than that for this. That mouse doesn't really work out for me anymore. I'm way too used to my Zeiss Rail. I'll probably either get another one of those. I've also been looking at the Rager Odachi. But anyway, then you've got some bragging things here about having a Radeon GPU and a Ryzen CPU, as well as all of this stuff up here. It's telling you it's got 300 hertz screen and liquid metal for the thermal material. Then you've got your 100 watt USB-C it's talking about there. It's got the noise cancellation that we talked about down there, and then the Dolby Atmos. And then it's got saying that it's got 8 cores overclocked, because it does. Anyway, though, let's get this beast turned on, shall we? All right, let's turn her on, and we'll get a boot test. Oh, I guess I didn't hold it down long enough. There we go. Now, normally it has a very annoying noise, boot up sound right there, but you can luckily turn that off. And boom. And that's how quick that is. All right, well, I'm waiting for it to finish booting up, which doesn't really take that long. I'm really just saying that. Figured take a quick look at the keyboard with its RGB. It's got a bunch of different settings you can go through. I just kind of have it bone stock the way it comes from the factory right now. I haven't bothered to change it, but the only thing I know for a fact is it doesn't have individual RGB zones, so you can't like make D red, W blue, and so on and so forth. I think you're just limited to the run-of-the-mill RGB modes that whatever the laptop comes with. That's what my understanding is, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I've never messed with it. Now let's take a little closer look at the front RGB bar as well, and then we'll move on with the rest of the review. Quick look at the light bar here. It wraps all the way on both sides here. It goes to about right here. On both sides, you can see where my fingers are. So that's pretty cool. Of course, you can turn it off if RGB is not your thing. Same thing with the keyboard. You don't have to have RGB if you don't like RGB. It's cool that it came with it for the people that do like it. All right, here's the techie stuff. Here's the CPU over here. It comes with a 5900HX. That's an 8-core, 16-thread CPU. American Megatrends International. Here's the memory it comes with stock. Not very impressive. Pretty slow, but hey, at least it's running in dual channel mode. Some of the other even cheaper laptops don't even have dual channel. They'll just come with single. So it's Samsung. Okay. All right, and then we don't really care about that. That's what you guys want to see. It's got the Radeon RX 6800M, which for all intents and purposes is pretty much a 6800 XT with drastically lower TDP requirements. I mean, I looked it up. It's literally got the exact same shaders, clocks, or not clocks, but shaders, ROMs. All of that stuff is almost the same. Here's where the GPU clock runs at, the boost. Oh, and it's got 12 gigs of GDDR6 memory, so that's pretty awesome, especially when it only has a 1080p screen. I can't really fathom this thing going and being too terrible anytime soon. Anyway, let's run a quick, we can close this now, and let's close the internet. So the only thing running is hardware monitor and CPU Z, and let's just run a quick CPU Z benchmark. And that's with the thing on silent mode. We'll run another one later and we'll see, try and remember what we got here and see if it improves at all. But pretty good scores considering it's on quiet mode, which doesn't let the fans ramp up at all. Okay, we're zoomed out for now, just real quick so I can run you through these modes real quick. You've got a performance mode, which lets the fans spin up pretty quick. And then you've got turbo mode, which lets the fans spin as fast as possible. and lets the clocks and everything run up as high as possible because the fans are running so high, and you get way better temps. It's just really, really loud. So you got silent as well for if you just want to sit on the desktop watching videos, YouTube, what have you. But now let's put it back to turbo mode and let's see if this actually gets any better or worse. No, that's still about the same. I think we got a little bit more in the multi-thread, but we actually lost a little in single thread, but that's how this thing works. Anyway though, that's benchmarks I ran it through. I think I ran it through a couple. I ran through those during the last unboxing video, but again, for people who haven't seen that, let's get those out real quick. Alright, here's what it got in Time Spy. Here's what it got in Firestrike. And these are, I'm keeping these around also because I'm going to upgrade the RAM, but I wanted to do a review video with it bone stock first. It seems disingenuous to put faster RAM in there and then act like that's the way it comes from the factory. Because even if I say, you know, at the beginning of the video or somewhere through the video, oh yeah, I upgraded the RAM in this, so take these things with a grain of salt, someone's going to see it, not see that part or hear that part, and then go around saying, oh man, this thing's faster than 3070s and 3080s. With the new RAM, it should be right in between the two, which is pretty impressive for the price. But anyway, it's better than 95% of all results, so that's pretty cool. And then here's what it got for Geekbench. Alright, some of the very small things that I've noticed about the laptop. There's not too many big issues with it, but some people have brought to my attention some issues that even I didn't notice. So, first thing that I noticed was, this is a Wi-Fi 6 computer. So I figured, you know, I have gigabit internet. I figured, you know, yeah, Wi-Fi's not going to quite get me the full speed, but let's just do a quick speed test, and you guys will see what I mean. Now, keep in mind, I have gigabit internet, and the thing is just in the other room. I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, 250 meg is still pretty decent, but my computer sitting right to my left of me gets like 500, 600 down. Alright, see, so we got 245 down and 36 up. So the upload's fine, ping is okay for being Wi-Fi, but that download's not that impressive, in my opinion. At least the range and everything seems okay. Alright, I'm just running the test on my iPad real quick, just as a comparison. I mean, the iPad only got 190, so it's still better than an iPad, so that's that. That's cool, but it's still not quite as good as my other computer, so it doesn't have the fastest download speeds on Wi-Fi, but if you hook it up with the Ethernet port, you'll zip right along at like 100 megabytes a second whenever you're downloading stuff. That's one of the issues. Another issue that I've come to my attention is it doesn't have an MUX switch, which means the GPU, the dedicated one, has to go to the APU and then go through your screen. Some of the more expensive laptops, and even some around this price, just have a little MUX switch, or MUX switch, which basically sits in between those two, and both of the APU and the dedicated one come together into the MUX switch, and then that sends the data out to the monitor, and you don't lose performance. So you lose like, I think 10-15% performance going through. Then you lose even more because they gave you crappy RAM. Ryzen likes dual rank RAM and tight timings, and they gave you loose timings and single rank RAM. So you can get, I think, 10-15% increase in performance just from upgrading your RAM. And it doesn't even have to be to 32 gigs like I'm going to. It can just be 16 gigs, because normal gamers still really don't need more than 16 gigs of RAM yet, in my opinion. Okay, here's another con, but I mean, it's literally this way for almost every gaming laptop. When you're working the CPU or GPU hard, the thing gets loud. So I just started running this. Obviously, we're not going to sit here and watch this for 10 minutes, but I just ran that up just to see how loud the fan gets. And keep in mind, this is just the CPU fan, since this isn't even a test that even hits the GPU at all. The GPU's sitting there twiddling its thumbs. When you get both of them going, it's quite a bit louder. I'll show you an example of that in a minute. We'll load up some Warzone real quick. I think it's pretty much maxed out its RPM. Although every time I think that, it gets a little freaking louder. Alright, we've been playing, I played a couple of these. So should be good and heated up about as hot as it's gonna get and as loud as it's gonna get. I think I'd rather have the flash. I'm just sitting here playing on my knees. I'm not going to lie, when I was a kid this was really, really easy. But once you hit freaking like 30, man, you can't sit on your knees like this anymore. This is not comfortable. Oh, where is he? Oh, there he is. Let's go find a couple more people. Obviously this video isn't all about me playing a video game, but at least it lets you also see what kind of FPS you can. Yeah, I'm getting 150 right now. Anyway, though, that's good enough for that. I think you can get a good idea of the noise. I'll turn the speakers up a little bit so you can hear how good the speakers are. This is only at 40. They even have some bass to them. They're two speakers. They're not four like I said in my unboxing video. I don't know why it sounds like there's four, but it sounds like there's some underneath the keyboard too, but it's just the two up underneath the monitor. It's that Dolby Atmos, man. That shit is magic. Get out a bigger gun. Find one more person to kill. Oh, is that somebody up? Alright. One of the other things I noticed is kind of a con. This port feels very, very delicate. I mean, I don't know that it is. It just feels very delicate compared to what I'm used to. So, just be very careful with that. And then, second, I mean, it has beastly parts, so it's going to have a beastly power brick. This is a 280 watt power brick. It's quite large and in charge. So that combined with that, I think is about 6.5 pounds total together. That's what I think I heard in other reviews. Okay, here's a small little issue, but kind of pointless. Just turned the thing on, it's really cold. Was gonna place the last little bit of this open beta. And we got some coil wine. Now, to me personally, I don't really care about that. I mean, my main computer coil winds like crazy, but as you can see now, whenever you play a game, the fans ramp up, and you usually have at least the nighttime, I have it at least at that. So now it's basically all covered by the fan noise. Not really the biggest deal in the world, but I wanted to show any possible issues that this laptop might have for this review. So that is one of the minor issues that I've discovered that might irritate some people. Okay, this could be a con or a pro depending on who you are, but there's no webcam either. Just microphones. So if you're going to use this for work and play and you need a webcam, you're going to have to pick one up. But if you're super into privacy and whatnot and you don't want a webcam, you know, looking at you, well then you don't have to worry about that with this one. There isn't one. And I think that pretty much does it for the cons. There's not really that many cons. So now let's move on to some pros, which there are a lot of. First pro, the screen. The screen is absolutely phenomenal. I was a little worried that it was 1080p, but 1080p on a 15-inch screen is fine. It's not until you start getting into the 20s. Like, I'd say about anywhere over 22, you can bump up to 1440p. And then, for me personally, 4K on small monitors and whatnot, desktops, doesn't really do me any good. It's such a small screen, you're not really getting anything. You're just killing your FPS. Now on a TV, hell yeah, give me 4K all day long. 1080p looks like garbage on such a big screen. Pro number 2 is definitely the processor and GPU combo. I mean, that Ryzen 5900HX and RX 6800M are an absolute excellent combination. And once I upgrade the RAM, this thing is going to be absolutely killer. Pro 3, speakers. The speakers on this laptop are great. Really like the speakers. Here's what the CPU got to maxed, and it averaged around that during everything we did, and it maxed out at 94, which sounds hot, but it's really not. That CPU can get all the way up to 105 before it starts actually throttling. Now let's move down to the memory, or the GPU I mean. That got up to 79. The hotspot got up to 89. And see, this is the good part about using turbo. It really keeps this thing under control, thus letting it hit way higher clocks. And here's all the clocks we ran. I very much like the combo choice that Asus chose here. And then the last pro I can think of is just speed. Look at how quick this thing launches apps. Oh, there's that fan turboing up. Not bad. Not like I'd ever actually, open that many that quickly, but that's just kind of an example. All right, before I wrap this video up, I figured I'd go through some of the software that comes with this. This is the Armory crate. This is home where you monitor all your different things. You can go, if you don't feel like using the buttons, you can come in here and you can mess with the fans. You got silent, performance, turbo. You can do a manual setting if you want to set them up the way you prefer, or you can come over here and let Windows take care of it. Which actually reminds me of another quick con. I've heard that if you leave it in any of these modes and with this program, silent, performance, turbo, if you shut this screen, it doesn't actually put the computer to sleep. It just sleeps the screen. So your computer's or your laptop's still on. But if you do Windows, it should work and actually put the whole thing to sleep. So that's just a quick little tidbit, but they are working on it. A couple other things we got here. This is where you'd mess with the Aura Sync stuff. Game visual, you can mess with the temperatures and all the different modes here for your screen. That's where all this stuff would be for if I had all my games in there. Profiles, this is just basically just ads and whatnot. Nothing too special. And there's news, if you want to keep up with what they're doing, I guess. And then you can just go home and you're back to this. Let's turn that to silent to get those fans to go away. I think I have covered pretty much all the bases. If I've forgotten anything, obviously let me know and ask in the comments if you got any questions, especially if I did happen to go over some or gloss over something important. But for $1,650, this is one of the best bang for the buck laptops there is. Just straight up is. If you can make do with the small little faults, I mean, you can fix the RAM. It sucks having to break open your new laptop and put new RAM in, but you put new RAM in it and it's almost like a whole nother new laptop. Anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap this on up. I'm definitely going to do a video when I upgrade the RAM so we can compare games. We'll probably run a couple games, before I get the RAM. I haven't gotten the RAM yet. It's shipped, but who knows? It's supposed to be here September 1st. We'll see. But I'll run through some games. If anybody wants me to run games now and wants to know how they run, let me know. And then we can compare them stock versus, upgraded memory. And that'll be a fun video. And then I also plan to do many videos of games running and whatnot and other applications. So if anybody wants to see anything run on this, let me know. I've already got some suggestions from my unboxing video that I've got some emulation stuff. And there's a couple games. So thanks for watching, everybody. Got any questions, feel free to ask, like I said. And until the next one, peace out, guys.